the past 7 months, I've been trying to predict the WrestleMania 40 card way too early. I tried to predict the WrestleMania 40 card 7 months ago, 4 months ago, and 2 months ago. And over the past week, we've been going back and reviewing those old videos to see how good my predictions were or how terrible they were. I've already reviewed my predictions from 7 months ago and 4 months ago, so today we're going to be looking at my predictions from 2 months ago. So logic should dictate that 2 months ago, my predictions should have been pretty good. Spoiler alert, they weren't. So again, we're gonna go through those old predictions from 2 months ago and determine whether or not I did a good or terrible job. As always, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications. If you're a wrestling fan, I know you're gonna fall in love with this YouTube channel because we always upload daily wrestling content. And this is the finale of this series. And yes, I am going to do a trying to predict WrestleMania 41 the week after WrestleMania 40 ends. We're all about that long-term booking here, folks. All right, let's get to it. So let's start off with the first and only one of the matches that was already confirmed when I made this video 2 months ago. That being the WWE Women's Championship match between champion Io Sky and the Royal Rumble winner Bayley. This is the only match that was already confirmed. We knew it was happening because Bayley won the Royal Rumble and she picked Io Sky. That happened well before Elimination Chamber, and this was the very first WrestleMania match that was properly confirmed. Now, to be fair, I did predict that this match was going to happen 7 months ago, but I didn't think that it was going to be for the title. I thought it was going to be for like the soul of Damage Control. I just didn't think that the WWE wasn't going to have a match for that WWE Women's Championship that didn't involve Charlotte Flair or Bianca Belair. But I think that the universe has spoken, and because of this Charlotte injury, it's forced a lot of pivots, and now this is where we've landed. And to be fair, this is probably the best grassroots traditional wrestling feud going into WrestleMania that doesn't require all of these like super grandiose third parties being involved. It doesn't have to be a bigger overarching narrative. It's just a simple feud between two women that dislike each other that are trying to be the top of the pecking order of the women's division. So I am gonna give myself points because I predicted this 7 months ago. Even if it wasn't for the title, I'm giving it to myself, okay? Here was another super popular option amongst people online for the Intercontinental Championship. It was the Intercontinental Champion Gunther taking on Braun Breaker. There were a lot of factors at play. The first factor being that Brock Lesnar was the guy that was originally cemented to be the one to take on Gunther at WrestleMania for the Intercontinental Championship. It was a dream match. We were all excited for it. Then Brock Lesnar got himself canceled, so that dream match went out the window. However, at the 2024 Royal Rumble match, Braun Breaker was given all of Brock Lesnar's spots, which made people predict that perhaps they're just going to give everything that was meant for Brock Lesnar in 2024 and give it to Braun Breaker. And one of those things being a match for the Intercontinental Championship. Now, we did get close to this in terms of degrees of separation because Braun Breaker did get moved up to the main roster, is a full-time main roster member, even if he is doing some split time with NXT. So they are in a position where they could have done this match. However, Braun Breaker went to SmackDown, Gunther stayed on Monday Night Raw, and they haven't had any sort of interactions in any capacity. So this match completely went out the window quite a while ago. Still, I don't think it's the worst prediction. I think it was pretty good, just kind of considering the context of the world that we were in at the time. Okay, can I get myself like quarter points or 1/6 points because I predicted that we were going to get Awesome Truth and The Miz and R-Truth taking on Judgment Day's Damian Priest and Finn Balor for the WWE Undisputed Tag Titles. To be fair, they are having a match for the WWE Undisputed Tag Titles. It's just it's going to be a ladder match and it's going to involve other teams. It's just that, you know, back then we had this great story and great feud between R-Truth, who thought he was a member of the Judgment Day and was being classic delusional R-Truth, didn't know what was real, what was reality, and Judgment Day was playing along with it and then eventually betrayed R-Truth. So to me, they were telling a really good enough story for this to be a, I guess, 2-on-2 WrestleMania match for the tag titles. They ended up expanding this to the ladder match, and I do think it's going to be a good call because I think that match is going to end up being absolutely fantastic, but I feel like I deserve at the very least like a little bit of points. What's funny is that I also predicted that there was going to be a WrestleMania 39 like tag team showcase at WrestleMania 40, and these are just 4 random tag teams that I picked. I picked Pretty Deadly, Imperium, DIY, and the New Day to take part of this because they did it last year and it was a huge success. It was a hit. A lot of people liked it, and it was a great way to get people on the WrestleMania card. It seems like the WWE has more or less taken this idea and just encapsulated it into this tag team ladder match, because there are a lot of people that are involved in this ladder match. So I think that's going to serve as the showcase spot, and it's also the match that's going to give a lot of people that WrestleMania shine. So I don't think that there's going to be a men's showcase tag team match happening, because I just don't think that you have room for it when you have this ladder match. Here's a funky one that a lot of us were potentially thinking was a possibility going into WrestleMania 40. You have to remember, at this point, we're all still just reeling from the CM Punk injury, because this video was made a couple of days after CM Punk announced that he had torn his tricep and wouldn't be part of WrestleMania, because we already had CM Punk versus Seth Rollins cemented as a WrestleMania 40 main event type match. It was bound to happen. It was destined to happen, but Destiny had other plans and took CM Punk out of the equation, which left just a lot of unanswered questions. A lot of us thought that Drew McIntyre would be involved, partly because at this time he was starting to become this really fun troll character, but also at the same time, a lot of us, including myself, didn't really foresee them doing another Drew McIntyre versus Seth Rollins matchup, considering up at this point, Seth Rollins had already beaten Drew McIntyre numerous times clean throughout 2023. However, we did have the wild card in Sami Zayn, who was having a feud with Drew McIntyre, and Sami Zayn was having the storyline about him trying to get on the WrestleMania card, and that his destiny was to win gold at WrestleMania in some capacity. So we thought that maybe he would weasel his way into this triple threat match. Obviously, this didn't end up being the case, but we did end up getting Drew McIntyre versus Seth Rollins in a manner that has us all excited for that match, even though it's a match that we've already seen before. So good job, WWE, for getting that done. Hey, do you want even more wrestling content? Because you can get more wrestling content over on patreon.com/SantiZap, where you're going to get the Wrestling is Cool podcast 3 days earlier than everyone else. By the way, the new episode is just going up right now. You are also going to get the Raw review, that really awesome Raw. I reviewed it. It's already up on there, as well as the SmackDown reviews and more. So go check it out, patreon.com/SantiZap for extra wrestling content. If you want to help me out so that I can do this as a full-time creator, that'd be nice as well. Otherwise, just keep watching the YouTube videos. That's cool too. All right, back to it. I've been predicting this since 7 months ago. I also predicted it 4 months ago, and it's already been properly confirmed. We're getting Jey Uso versus Jimmy Uso in Bloodline Rules. Now, that's a different match, but I do think that this should get a stipulation. It doesn't seem like it's going to, even though I really feel like it should, considering how personal this feud is. When you think about the fact that Jimmy Uso has cost Jey every ounce of gold in the WWE possible, from mid-card titles to tag team belts to world titles. This should be a street fight. I think in this video, I'm like, I don't know what the hell they're gonna do with the women's tag titles. So I just said, I think we'll do a women's showcase match for the women's tag titles. I don't think that's gonna end up being the case. It could be, don't get me wrong. It still could be as of the making of this video, but I think that it's going to be Bianca Belair and Naomi going after the tag titles at WrestleMania. I don't think that it's going to be just a showcase and a mishmash of different women and a bunch of teams like the men's ladder match that's happening for the tag titles. I think that this is going to be a match with a predetermined feud that's already being built right now on SmackDown as we speak, with Bianca Belair and Naomi. I was certain this match was going to happen, like for sure. 4 months ago, I called it. 2 months ago, I was still certain. Then Rey Mysterio came back and I was like, whoo, let's go. Swish. Nothing but net. We are going to get Rey Mysterio versus Santos Escobar. And then they ended up just completely pulling the rug out from underneath me, because they had the match. They had a match on SmackDown, a full-fledged like 25-minute match that didn't really end in shenanigans. Kind of it did. Like, I was expecting members of LWO to get involved and Legado del Fantasma, and then that this was going to be a no contest setting up a faction versus faction, but instead we had Dirty Dominic Mysterio reignite his feud with his dad by preventing him from winning against Santos Escobar. Now this raises some questions. Are they running it back? Are they doing Rey Mysterio versus Dominic Mysterio again at WrestleMania? That's a possibility. Or if you do the math, you add Dominic Mysterio to Legado del Fantasma's team. Because on Legado del Fantasma, we have, if you include Dominic Mysterio, the two tag team members, and Angel and Garza, and then of course you have Santos Escobar, and you can add as well Elektra Lopez. So we have 5 people. Over in LWO, you have Rey, you have the 2 tag teams and Joaquin Wilde and Cruz del Toro. We also have Carlito and then Zelina Vega. So now we have even Stevens if we add Dominic Mysterio over here to Legado del Fantasma. So I think it's going to be faction versus faction. faction, but you're gonna add Dominic into the team of Legado del Fantasma instead. I don't know what flavor of Prime I was drinking when I made this prediction, because I had Logan Paul defending the United States Championship against Montez Ford. Don't get me wrong, this match would absolutely torch the house down. This match would actually be fantastic. However, we didn't even come close to this. Frankly, I only had like one little incy little bitty clue to go off of, and that's why I made this prediction. We all know that Logan Paul is going to be defending in a triple threat match against Randy Orton and Kevin Owens, but during this time when I made this prediction, there was like a weird little heated backstage moment between Logan Paul and Bianca Belair, where he said, "I'm a big fan of your husband," and then walked away. And on top of that, at this time, if you remember, the Bianca Belair and Montez Ford show was getting pushed heavily, even to the point that they promoted it during the WrestleMania kickoff press conference. Granted, I made this before that press conference, but like they were pushing that show hard. So I figured, okay, maybe our boy Montez Ford is gonna get some shine, gonna get some love, and gonna get that singles push that we've been wanting him to get for a really long time. And I think a match with Logan Paul would have been absolutely fantastic, but I was so off, it's not even funny. Not gonna really talk about this. I had predicted this 7 months ago, 4 months ago, and 2 months ago as well. Now, this was before the Elimination Chamber, so there was a chance that it wasn't going to be Becky Lynch, but like, come on, we all knew it was going to be Becky Lynch. And I am glad that they ultimately ended up going with this, because I do think that they're doing a better job over the last couple of weeks of actually building this and making us feel excited for this and making Becky Lynch feel like a genuine threat to the monstrosity that is Rhea Bloody Ripley. So I'm glad that they went with this route, and I predicted it 7 months ago, so go me. I guess this could still technically happen. Bianca Belair versus Jade Cargill. It would involve, at least in my headcanon, Bianca Belair pulling double duty, working the tag match, and then also working maybe this impromptu showcase match against Jade Cargill. We do have Jade Cargill officially being announced as a SmackDown signee, and she's having a promo on this upcoming episode of SmackDown, where I presume whoever she's gonna face at WrestleMania is gonna make themselves known and is going to interrupt her. Because of how busy Bianca Belair is right now with the likes of Damage Control and Naomi, the Kabuki Warriors, I don't think that she's going to be involved in this, which is a shame, because this would be a really awesome, huge match. I think it might end up being somebody like a Tiffany Stratton, maybe somebody just small that somebody like Jade Cargill could really toss around and could really sell for Jade Cargill. Who knows? I don't know what they're going to do with Jade Cargill, but I just don't think that it's going to be Bianca Belair. So I think I'm wrong here. I don't know what crack I was smoking here. I said that we were going to get Team A-Town Down Under in Austin Theory and Grayson Waller taking on Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Kevin Owens. Listen, I don't know, dude. This was before Elimination Chamber, before all the qualifiers. I figured, okay, Kevin Owens already got his chance at Logan Paul. They're not gonna run Logan Paul versus Kevin Owens again. And the members of A-Town Down Under had been attacking Kevin Owens and been a problem for him and been a thorn on his side. So I figured, okay, maybe Kevin Owens would find a tag team partner. And we have heard rumors of Stone Cold Steve Austin trying to get in-ring ready. So I figured, okay, you know what? This would be a safe place to bring Stone Cold Steve Austin in, because he has history with Kevin Owens and he has history with Austin Theory as well. And it's a tag match that could easily protect a legend that's aged, the likes of Stone Cold Steve Austin. So I actually don't hate this prediction that I make. I think, you know, I really reached for the stars here, but it's not a terrible call, but I don't think that this is happening, obviously, with Kevin Owens already being inserted into the triple threat match for the United States Championship. I predicted this 2 months ago, but I don't want it. I want to refund this. I don't want this anymore. We have Bobby Lashley versus Karrion Kross. I had it as a singles match. I think when I made this, the feud maybe had just started, but this feud just feels like it's just been going on forever, at least 2 months, clearly, because this is when I made that video, but it's just dragging on and it just doesn't get interesting. Every time that they try, it just feels boring. It feels flat. Maybe this could be interesting if this is just like a chaotic, like faction versus faction match, but then I'm asking myself, are they really going to do 2 faction versus faction matches, both from SmackDown at WrestleMania? Frankly, this is something that you could do at the SmackDown before WrestleMania, and that is an absolute shame, because Bobby Lashley deserves so much more than being them being snubbed from WrestleMania twice, but this feud, this just isn't it. It might end up being right. It very well could be, but I don't want this. This was properly confirmed already, so we are going to be getting AJ Styles versus LA Knight. I predicted this before Elimination Chamber. I had predicted that AJ Styles was going to fly 30 hours, be a petty mother effort, and take out LA Knight and prevent him from going to WrestleMania to vie for any sort of championship. I love what they're doing with the feud so far, the home invasion stuff. I hope that LA Knight goes to court and says yeah to the lawyers and to the judges and to the jury. I still think that they could do some really fun stuff in terms of building this, so we'll see. But yeah, I guess I was right about this one. I didn't know what the plan was for Randy Orton. He just kind of seemed a little bit directionless prior to Elimination Chamber. I figured, okay, Roman Reigns is probably going to be busy. I figured that maybe Randy Orton would team up alongside Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso to be the ones that prevent the other members of the bloodline from getting involved in his main event match. Jey Uso stopping Jimmy and Randy Orton stopping Solo Sikoa. They also have history as well that I figured it would work. It's not a terrible prediction, but I do think that they're doing something much better with Randy Orton instead, so I'm glad to be wrong here. Okay, so we're in the main event scene now, and I had predicted Roman Reigns versus The Rock. You gotta hear me out on this first, okay? When I made this, the cuckening of Cody Rhodes had not yet happened, all right? The Rock hadn't come back to steal Cody Rhodes' spot. But what we did already have was The Rock coming back to say, where should The Rock sit? At the bar, in a booth, or at the head of the table? And I figured they weren't gonna have him just do that one-off line to not set up Rock versus Roman Reigns. That's exactly what they ended up doing. They ended up pivoting away from Rock versus Roman Reigns into something absolutely fantastic with this evil final boss version of The Rock that we have going on right now. But I figured this was a foregone conclusion. Roman Reigns versus The Rock is for sure happening, but I didn't think it was just going to be this. I also thought that we were still going to get Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes. I thought that Roman was actually going to do double duty. I thought that Roman was going to main event night 1 and main event night 2 for the WWE Championship as well, because we rarely get to see Roman, so I figured for one weekend we get to see him back to back. This obviously is not how things played out. We are going to be getting Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns. That is already cemented, even though it wasn't cemented and then it got re-cemented. Things were weird there for a while with the whole press conference thing and the slap and the Rock turning heel. But we've got our answers. This is for sure happening. But The Rock versus Roman Reigns, we're so far away from this to the point where I don't think it's even ever going to happen, because even at WrestleMania 41, I think that there's more hype for The Rock versus Cody Rhodes next year than there would be for Roman Reigns versus The Rock. Again, we'll have to see how the dust settles, because this storyline is just getting absolutely bananas. So I guess I was right about the night 2 main event, but this is completely off. All right, folks, that's it for the video today, and that's it for this series as well until we start it up as we try to predict WrestleMania 41. Thank you so much for sticking with me throughout this entire series. This was fun. I'm going to do this for every single WrestleMania moving forward. All right, folks, that's it. I'm done. Get out of here.